seriously though, this fabric, I mean, come on, come on. Guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am extremely excited about this project because, as you can probably already tell, I am going to be making the iconic strawberry dress. It is by the brand Lirika Matoshi. In case you guys don't know, you guys should check out all their other clothes because they're super cute and I love the way that they're made and stuff. And I've been seeing this dress go around for like 6 months now, and I know that I'm pretty late to the trend, but I was trying really hard not to buy the fabric. I'm like, I'm not gonna do it, I'm not gonna break down, I don't need it, where am I gonna wear it? And I just kept thinking to myself, I'm just gonna wear it around the house, and yes, I do need it, and of course I need to make the iconic dress. Where am I going to get the fabric? Turns out you can buy it on Etsy, and it was pretty cheap. Mine was only $6 a yard, I think. I think it was on sale when I bought it. I will link the store that I used in the description, and I am in love with the fabric that I got. So I was trying to hold off buying it, and like 2 weeks ago I finally broke and I decided to order 4 yards of the strawberry fabric, and it is absolutely beautiful. It is so stunning. I want to use it for like literally everything now. And for the other fabric I bought 10 yards, 10 whole yards of this pink tulle. It was only $1.50 a yard, so I didn't feel bad getting 10 yards of it because we're going to need a lot of tulle for this project, I assumed. And then I also bought 3 yards of this knit fabric, and I decided to go with one that I wasn't going to need to line because I didn't want it to have too many layers. So this one is opaque for the skirt and for the bodice. And so altogether, this is 17 yards of fabric. I've never made a project with 17 yards of fabric. I'm so excited. I love fabric so much. I'm so excited. So I am excited to make this video so you guys can see my whole process and how I'm going to do the whole thing. And I think we should just get started. So after I took a good look at the dress and pieced the whole thing together, you know, like mentally, these are all of the pieces that I decided would work best to make this particular dress. And so I cut them all out, and there are a lot of pieces, I'm so sorry, but here are all of their measurements. So these are the lining bodice pieces, and you're going to want to cut out 2 front pieces and 2 back pieces. So the next piece I cut out is the sleeve piece, and you're going to want to cut out 2 out of your lining fabric, 2 out of the strawberry fabric, and I cut 2 out of the tulle fabric even though I didn't end up using those. The next piece I cut out was the skirt. So the skirt for the lining piece was a basic circle skirt, but it was so big that I couldn't really show you guys how I usually cut it out, so I made a little diagram for you guys here. So basically I measured all the way around from 1 point 6.5 inches, and then from that I measured 35 inches all the way around. And it was very fun to twirl in already. I think that's enough twirl. This is already very fun. The next thing I did was cut out 2 back pieces from the strawberry fabric, and then for the front pieces of the strawberry fabric, I took one of the bodice pieces that we already cut out one side of it, and then moved the piece over and measured 13 inches from each point, so that would be even, and then cut out the other side and then connected the tops. So basically you just have a piece that has been stretched by 13 inches. So the next thing I cut out was the circle skirts out of the tulle fabric. And so it was a pretty similar process to the lining fabric ones, but these ones I made a full circle instead of a quarter circle. So basically I again chose a point and measured 3 inches all the way around, this time in a half circle, and then from those points I measured 35 inches out again. You want to cut this particular piece out of tulle 8 times. And the next thing I cut out was the skirt piece out of the strawberry fabric. And so this one is a rectangle piece, but I made the other pieces circle skirts so that around the waist it would be a lot slimmer and it would look a lot more flattering, and I just cut one of these pieces out of the strawberry fabric. The next thing I did was cut out some 2-inch strips out of the tulle fabric for the ruffles around the neckline and sleeves, and then I also cut out some 7-inch tulle strips for the ruffles around the bottom of the skirt. And then the last thing I cut out was some 1.5-inch strips out of the lining fabric to do the little ties that go around the waist. Alright, so I finally cut out all of the pieces, which took a very long time. I'm already very tired, but I'm really pumped to get started on this project. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some darts to the front pieces. So I'm going to add a dart along the side right here, and then one right here. And I'm going to do that basically by pinning it on myself until I like the way it looks, and then I'm going to go ahead and stitch those. Alright, so I pinned one side and I really like how it looks, so I'm going to just transfer those pins onto the other one and then stitch both of them. And it should look something like that. Alright, so now I have my front pieces. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the strawberry fabric, and I made it a lot bigger because it has little ruffles down the shoulders. So I'm going to baste it around the arm seam and this seam, and it'll be a little bit funny because we didn't put a dart in it, but this is a pretty stretchy and forgiving fabric, so we're not going to put a dart in it. So I'm going to make it go down the side, and then I'm going to make the other side go down the front. I'm going to baste it there, and then I'm going to ruffle all the stuff in between it. Alright, so the last thing I'm going to do today is I'm probably going to ruffle some tulle strips. So I'm going to take some of my 2-inch ones, and I'm going to put my machine on a basting stitch and also on my highest tension so that it will gather it a little bit while it's sewing it. And then I'm going to just sew down my very long strips because we're going to need it for the neckline of the shirt. Also, because this tulle is pretty thin, I think I'm going to double it up so it'll be a little bit more opaque when we attach it. Okay, day 2. So I finished ruffling the short pieces yesterday, and I have like this very long, big ruffle now. And turning the tension up made it so I didn't have to ruffle it by hand, which was a lot easier. So I'm going to go ahead and baste the other strawberry fabric to the other lining fabric because I didn't do that yesterday. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ruffle this top part that is much bigger, obviously, than this portion on the front piece. And I'm also going to do that on the bottom. But I'm going to start it after it reaches this bottom seam because that part is going to be flat and the ruffling is only going to be for this section here. So I'm going to mark this part here, and I'm going to turn out my tension again so that it can just do it for me really quick. And then I'm going to just stitch it across. And make sure you're using a basting stitch again. Okay, so now it should kind of look like this. So you should have a bunch of ruffles down here and up here. Alright, so now I'm going to turn my tension back to normal. And I'm going to still baste. I'm just going to baste across basically where we just did, but sewing it down to the lining fabric now. Okay, so I basted across the top and bottom, and now we have our 2 front pieces. So now I'm going to work on the back pieces. First, I'm going to turn on gravity balls. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do on the back piece is I'm going to add a dart right down the center of the back. So I'm going to pin it on myself, kind of like I did the last one, and then make it symmetrical on the other piece too. So my plan was to add darts onto the strawberry fabric, but this mesh fabric has some stretch to it, so I'm thinking I'm just going to lay on it flat and baste around the edges of it. Back pieces. Okay, so now that all of the strawberry pieces are to the front and back of the lining pieces, I'm going to put all the pieces together. I'm going to put their side seams together on a front and back piece, and I'm going to put their tops together. So I'm going to stitch across the shoulder seam and the side seam. Okay, so right now I'm not obsessed with the way the ruffle is looking at the top. So I think I'm going to seam rip this side open and undo the top and the bottom of the front. And I'm going to pleat these instead of ruffling them because I think it'll look a lot better and cleaner. So I think I'm going to cut down the lining fabric a little bit because I seam ripped it and I tried it on again. And I want this to be pretty close to my shoulder, like right here-ish. So I'm going to take that in and then make it just gradually come back into this part. Alright, I think that fits a lot better. So I think now I'm going to go ahead and pleat this excess fabric now. Okay, so I've been messing around with this for a while and I finally have some pleats that I really like the position of. So I'm going to go ahead and replicate it on the other side. Alright, so now I'm just going to baste the top and bottom of this piece. I'm also going to rebaste this edge. And I'm going to leave all these pins in here for when we want to put in the band later. So now I'm just going to go ahead and restitch the shoulder seams. Okay, so I just tried it on and I pinned up the back so that I could try it on because that's where the zipper is going to go. And I had a lot of excess fabric, so I'm going to cut it down, making sure to leave some extra so that I can actually put in the zipper. But because we have so much extra, it's making the V-neck a lot higher, so I'm going to cut it. Then I can also cut the V-neck lower. Okay, so now it's time to attach the ruffles around it. So I'm going to take our ruffles and I'm going to pin them where I plan on sewing it. And I'm going to make sure that they're facing in so that when we sew it, they turn out. And then I'm going to baste them on top, and then I'm going to attach our single fold bias tape. Okay, so now where we stitched it, I'm going to go ahead and add some single fold bias tape to finish it all off. And the way you do that is you sew on one side of your single fold bias tape when you open it up, and then I'm going to cut my seams really short, flip it over, and sew the other side of it. Alright, so next I'm going to trim all of the tulle around the neckline to about 5/8 of an inch. Okay, the lighting in here is bad, but here is the first look at the bodice. So I just pinned some little strips on it so that I could do it like the ties in the photo, but I think it's looking really cute and it's actually looking really good. And of course there's no zipper in it yet either, but progress! Okay, so I think I'm going to attach the sleeves next. So I did cut out those extra pieces of tulle for the sleeves, and I don't think I'm going to use them. I think I'm just going to do it against the lining fabric like we've been doing. So like before, I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pin and baste the strawberry fabric to the lining fabric. Okay, so now that the pieces are put together with the strawberry fabric, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half and sew along this line. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 basting stitches from here all the way around to here, and then I'm going to pin the sleeve to the armhole and ruffle it until it fits around it. Okay, it's just pinned, but this sleeve though, I'm already obsessed. I'm literally so excited to put this on. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's looking so cute. Okay, so I think I'm going to cut down my sleeves by about 1 inch, so they're a little bit shorter. So I just cut out some new strips of tulle, and I'm going to ruffle them so that we can put them on the bottom of the sleeves. Okay, so these sleeves are looking freaking adorable. So next, because the tulle wants to sit upwards, I'm going to turn it down, and I'm going to base stitch it down so that the tulle sits flat. And then I'm going to take some thin elastic, cut a piece that fits around my arm the way I like it, and then I'm going to stretch it and sew a zigzag stitch across it while it's stretched to cinch it all up around my arm. Okay, so here is the bodice right now, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with the sleeves because this is the one I did with the elastic method I showed you guys. And it's not quite getting the ruffle that I wanted, and the ruffles on the bottom are kind of flaring out at a weird angle. So I decided to try a different way with making a casing, and I think this one's working a lot better, and I can make it a lot tighter if I want to, which gives me that cute little scrunching action where this one's kind of just falling loose. So I think I'm gonna go with this method because I think I like the scrunch better, so I will show you guys how I do that too. But seriously, this is looking so cute. Oh my goodness, I feel so cute. Okay, so I seam ripped everything on the sleeve that I hadn't done, and I cut out this strip of the fabric that we used for the lining, and I'm using the not stretchy side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up the sleeve like this, and I'm basically going to sew this on the seam that we originally did where we put the ruffles on it, and I'm gonna sandwich the ruffles between it. Okay, so now that I sewed it around like this, I'm basically going to take this layer, fold it up here, and stitch on top of it right by the seam. Okay, so now that I top stitched that, I'm going to cut the inner seam really, really thin so that we can cut off all this thick fabric there. Okay, so now that I cut that edge, I'm going to fold this down and sew a big enough casing so that I can fit my elastic. I'm going to make sure to leave a little hole in it so that I have enough room to insert the elastic. And now I'm just going to cut off this excess fabric here. And now I'm just going to take my elastic and attach it to this little threader tool I have. But of course a safety pin would work just as well. And now I'm going to go to the little opening I left right here and insert it through. And now once you have the elastic to the size you like, you can just stitch it a few times and cut it off. And then you have a cute little casing for your sleeves. Okay, I'm feeling so cute in this. Look at these sleeves. They're so cute, oh my goodness. I just keep like walking like this, I feel so cute. Alright, I think it is time to start working on the skirt, which should be an interesting process. So, let's get started. Okay, so now I'm excited to start working on the skirt. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my skirt back in half, and I'm going to cut down the center of it from the waistband about 10 inches so that I have a way of getting this on and off. And I'm going to do that on all of the skirt backs, so half of my pieces. Okay, so now I'm going to take all my skirt pieces and sew their sides together all the way down. And I'm going to do that with the tulle ones also, but not with the strawberry ones. This is all the circle skirt pieces. Okay, so I sewed all of the tulle skirts together obviously, and there's a lot of content here. So I think the first thing I'm going to do to kind of make it a little bit easier to work with is I'm going to pin all of their waistbands together and then put 2 basting stitches all the way around them, if I can figure out where they start. Okay, so last night I kind of decided I wanted to gallivant around in this skirt in my house because I love big giant skirts almost more than anything else. So I just went ahead and did 2 basting stitches around the tulle layers together, and then I pinned the side seams together to the lining fabric, and then I scrunched up the tulle fabric because the waistband was a little bit too big, and then I just went ahead and did a basting stitch around it so the lining fabric was attached to all of the tulle layers, and now we have a big giant skirt that is very, very fun to wear, and I will show you guys what it looks like on because I just want to twirl in it some more before I attach it to the dress. Look at this skirt. Like, come on. Oh my gosh. I just want to twirl around in this all day. I'm just like twirling and like, it looks fun when I like kick in it. I kind of like don't want to attach it. I might just have to make myself a skirt that's like just this because like, come on, it's so cute. I could literally just twirl around in this all day. I feel like a beautiful jellyfish. But I know it's going to look super cute with the strawberry fabric on it too, so like I'm a little excited, but I just love this so much. I just want to wear this all the time. It's so pretty. Alright, so it is finally time to work on the strawberry part of the skirt. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the sides together and sew them up so that it is one continuous loop. But I'm going to make sure to stop 8 inches before I hit the top so that we can add it into the zipper later. Okay, so now that I sewed around the top, I'm going to mark out the top of the piece into quarters so that when I scrunch it all up, I know like how to keep it even and stuff. And then I'm going to run 2 basting stitches all the way around it so that I can start pinning it to the actual skirt. Okay, so now I have all of the basting stitches, so I'm going to go ahead and take all of the quarter sections that we pinned out first and attach those to the skirts first, so we can pull in all of the basting threads and make sure that all of the ruffles are really even all the way around the skirt, so that not one part is more ruffly than the other. Okay, so now that it is pinned to the skirt, I'm going to go ahead and baste around the edge of it. Keep all of this in place. Okay, so next I'm going to pin the bodice to the skirt, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch all the way around the waistband. And then for the front of the bodice, because it is 2 pieces, you put them really close to each other, and then the back should be open just like the skirt. Okay, so next I'm going to tackle the ruffle on the bottom. So I have all these strips that I cut out earlier, and I'm going to sew them into a very long strip so that they're all together. And then I'm going to go ahead and ruffle them all along the bottom. And I'm going to use a basting stitch and put my tension all the way up to 9 again, so that it kind of ruffles it automatically so I don't have to do it by hand because I don't feel like doing that. And I think I'm also going to double it up again so that it's a little bit more opaque. Okay, so now that we created these giant ruffles, I'm going to go ahead and attach them to the bottom of the skirt, making sure that the pretty sides are together so that when we turn it out, it'll be nice and cute and ruffly. Okay, so I pinned all of the bottom ruffles, so now I'm going to go ahead and stitch them all the way around, which there's a lot of content to get around there. Okay, so I've been avoiding taking my duct tape dress off my mannequin for a very long time because I thought it was going to go badly and then it went badly. But I didn't think there was really much choice on what I need to do next because I need to cut the tulle layers underneath and I need it to be on something so that they will all turn out even because I just don't think there's a way around it. So let's get working. Okay, so I just finished cutting out all of the basting stitches along the bottom and trimming it so it looks a little bit better. And my main concern right now is the dress looks very poofy, which is like fun, but doesn't really match the picture a whole lot. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out one of my layers of tulle and see how that looks to make it just a little bit less poofy. And then I also worked really hard last night to trim all of the tulle and the lining fabrics so that it is all the same length as the top layer so that it's not, you know, any weirdness going on there. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is cut out that extra layer. Okay, so now it's looking really good. The only thing is I just looked at the photo and the bottom ruffles are a little bit shorter than mine. So I think I'm going to go ahead and trim about 1 inch off of them, which means I also have to trim all of the bottom layers again, which was kind of a pain, but I think it's worth it. So I'm going to take it off and do that really quick. Okay, so here is the dress right now, and I'm pretty happy with the bottom of it. So I think I'm going to stop messing around with that for right now. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is to add on these little ties right here around the waist. Okay, so now I'm going to take these ties that we cut out a while ago, and I'm going to fold them in half and stitch all the way down them. And then for the ends, I'm just going to stitch across them so that they're finished. And then I'm going to cut the piece in half to turn it inside out. Alright, so I just made all the ties, so now I'm going to pin them onto the waist and stitch it on the top and bottom all the way around. And the bottom one is going to be right along the waistline, and the top one's going to be about 1 inch or 2 above the first one. Alright, so I just sewed all of the ties on it, and it looks really, really good. So the last thing I'm going to do is attach the invisible zipper to the back. Alright, the dress is officially done, and I'm so excited to go try it on. Alright, so here is the finished strawberry dress. I am super obsessed with this dress. I think it's so pretty, and I've been honestly just twirling around in it for like the past 3 days because it is just so fun to twirl around in. Like, all those layers of tulle made it very poofy and flowy, and it's just a really good time to wear this dress, you guys. And I also think I did a pretty good job of recreating it. I really love accuracy, so I think I did a pretty good job of recreating it as best as I could. And compared to the original dress, this one is much cheaper, so I was very happy. Also, here is me twirling awkwardly before noticing that the weird couple in the park was staring at me, so there's that. Do you want a strawberry dress next? As always, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this video motivates you to give the strawberry dress a try because it is a very fun dress to make and twirl around in. I post a video every Friday if you want to see more of my channel, and hopefully I will see you guys soon. Bye!